Ambassador Kithrix's 8 legs trembled as he scuttled across the polished crystalline floor of the Grand Council chamber, nearly dropping the stack of data crystals clutched in his chelicera. The assembled council members, representing the 30 most advanced species in the known galaxy, turned their various sensory organs toward him with expressions ranging from mild annoyance to outright disdain. "Emergency," Kithrix clicked out, his translator struggling to convey the urgency in his voice. "We must discuss the humans immediately." High Counselor Zixtal, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate metallic shell, dimmed slightly in what passed for an exasperated sigh among the luminary. "Ambassador Kithrix, this is the 5th emergency session you've called about the humans this solar cycle. They've barely established a permanent presence on their moon. What could possibly?" "They did it by accident," Kithrix interrupted, causing several council members to bristle at the breach of protocol. This morning, at 7:47 Earth time, Dr. Ashley Thompson of the Montana Institute of Technology was attempting to perfect something called a coffee maker because, and I quote from her research notes, "the break room coffee tastes like radioactive sludge." He activated one of the data crystals, projecting a hologram of a bleary-eyed human female in a lab coat decorated with what appeared to be cartoon representations of cats in spacesuits. The footage showed her dumping an alarming amount of coffee grounds into a modified device while muttering about needing caffeine. In her attempt to create what she called the perfect cup of joe, Dr. Thompson accidentally discovered how to manipulate quantum fields on a macro scale. She didn't even realize what she'd done until her assistant pointed out that her coffee cup was simultaneously existing in multiple dimensions. The council chamber erupted in dismissive hoots, clicks, and psychic projections of amusement. Grand Arbiter Venixis, a gelatinous mass of transparent tissue housing multiple brains, rippled disapprovingly. "Ambassador, surely you don't expect us to believe. It's affecting your tea right now," Kithrix interrupted again, pointing a trembling leg at the Arbiter's ceremonial cup. The chamber fell silent as every council member turned to stare at Venix's drink, which was indeed slowly swirling in impossible patterns, the liquid simultaneously moving clockwise and counterclockwise while also appearing to flow upward against gravity. "That's impossible," whispered Supreme Technologist Molak, their cybernetic eyes whirring as they ran countless calculations. "We've been researching macro-scale quantum manipulation for millennia. The power requirements alone." She powered it with something called a potato battery because, and again I quote, "the power was out in the lab and I really needed coffee." Kithrix clicked miserably. "They solve complex theoretical physics by accident while trying to make better beverages. Don't you understand what this means?" Now, High Counselor Zixtal flickered soothingly. "Let's not overreact. Humans do seem to have a knack for unusual innovations, but they're still a young species. They follow the standard development pattern. They've barely achieved lunar colonization. Their quantum technology is in its infancy." A junior aide burst into the chamber, their tendrils writhing in agitation. "Urgent update from Earth observation. Dr. Thompson just spilled her quantum coffee on her phone. And now the entire human information network is operating on quantum principles. Their cat videos are now simultaneously existing in all possible states until observed." Kithrix's mandibles clicked in what might have been a smirk. "Oh, and that's not even the concerning part. Dr. Thompson has already posted her coffee maker upgrade tutorial on something called TikTok. The humans are calling it the Quantum Coffee Challenge." The council members watched in horror through their observation feeds as millions of humans began modifying their coffee makers, each trying to make their morning brew more quantum than the last. Somewhere in Nebraska, a barista had already figured out how to make a latte that existed in 5 dimensions. "Perhaps," Kithrix suggested dryly, "we should consider making contact before they accidentally discover faster-than-light travel while trying to deliver pizza in under 30 minutes." The Council's first contact fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. 12 crystalline ships arranged in the sacred geometric pattern that had intimidated countless primitive species into immediate submission. Their arrival darkened Earth's skies, casting ominous shadows over major cities worldwide. It was a display of power that had never failed to inspire terrified awe. Lieutenant Jack Reynolds, however, was making hot dogs. "Sir," his XO whispered urgently, "there are alien warships in orbit. And you're grilling." Jack flipped a hot dog with practiced ease on the portable grill he'd set up on the roof of Space Force Command. "Best way to negotiate is over good food, Martinez. My mama taught me that." He adjusted his Montana Grizzlies baseball cap and squinted up at the massive ships overhead. Besides, Susan in engineering already found 17 structural weaknesses in their ship's designs. Did you know they didn't account for thermal expansion in their crystal matrices? The alien ship's primary communication array hummed to life, projecting a massive hologram of High Counselor Zixtal over every major city. The energy being's voice boomed with carefully calculated menace. "People of Earth, we are Galactic Council. Your primitive world no do falls under our protection and control. Resistance is." "Hey there." Jack's cheerful voice cut through the transmission, somehow hijacking the alien communication network. "Y'all want to come down and talk about this over lunch? Got some mean hot dogs going, and my mama's secret sauce recipe that'll knock your socks off. Assuming you folks wear socks." There was a long, confused silence from the alien fleet. Did that human just interrupt our first contact protocol to invite us to a cookout? Supreme Commander Vex Thor demanded, their warrior-cased mandibles clicking in confusion. "Sir," one of their subordinates reported, "we're detecting thousands of similar invitations across their global communication networks. The humans are organizing something they call a first contact block party." Indeed, all across Earth, humans were setting up grills, hanging welcome banners, and debating what drinks to serve their alien visitors. In Texas, someone was already trying to figure out how to deep-fry alien food. In Australia, there was heated discussion about whether aliens would enjoy Vegemite. The Council's diplomatic corps was in chaos. This wasn't in any of their first contact protocols. They're supposed to be cowering. Vex Thor bellowed, "Launch the intimidation drones." Thousands of combat drones descended toward Earth's surface, only to find themselves being escorted to various backyard barbecues by enthusiastic humans who had somehow bypassed their hostile programming with what they called good old-fashioned hospitality protocols. Back at Space Force Command, Jack was explaining his mama's secret sauce recipe to 3 fascinated alien diplomats who had defected from the fleet above. "The trick," he drawled, "is the bourbon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Alcohol on a military base. But this here's a diplomatic function." "Fascinating," clicked one of the aliens, a being apparently evolved from something like a praying mantis. "And this bourbon, it has quantum properties." "Nah," Jack chuckled, flipping another hot dog. "Just good old Kentucky straight bourbon. Though now that you mention it, might be interesting to age it in quantum time." "Sir," Martinez interrupted, rushing up with a tablet. "The alien fleet. They're accepting our dinner invitations," Jack finished with a grin. "Mama always said, nobody can stay mad when there's good food on the table." Above, the mighty Council fleet was indeed powering down their weapons, their crews more interested in the thousands of party invitations flooding their communication systems. The sight of humans cheerfully cooking, setting up lawn chairs, and organizing impromptu street festivals in the shadow of their warships had completely shattered their intimidation strategy. High Counselor Zixtal's energy form flickered in what might have been resignation. Perhaps, they conceded, we should reconsider our approach. "Great idea." Jack's voice came through again. "Now, who wants to learn about something we call tailgating? Fair warning, though, might need to modify your ship's parking systems, and maybe bring some chips. We're running low down here." In the Council's flagship, Kithrix watched as humanity transformed an invasion into a party and wondered if the galaxy was ready for human hospitality. Styx prided himself on being the Council's most meticulous regulatory officer. In his 300 years of service, he had never encountered a violation he couldn't cite, a regulation he couldn't enforce, or a species he couldn't control through bureaucracy. Then he met Jessica Martinez, age 17, from Phoenix, Arizona. "And this is my latest creation." Jessica beamed, holding up what appeared to be a crystalline hair clip decorated with butterfly stickers. "I call it a gravity groove accessory. It makes your hair float in whatever pattern you want, and it comes in 16 colors." Styx's eye stalks twitched violently. That's a Class 7 gravity manipulation device. "How did you—" "Oh, the gravity thingy." Jessica shrugged, her own hair dancing in impossible patterns thanks to her invention. "I got the idea from those anti-grav plates on your ships. They were pretty basic, so I jazzed them up a bit. Want one? They're super popular on Space Etsy." Styx pulled up his regulatory tablets in panic. Space Etsy. The holoscreen he activated showed an endless stream of modified alien technology, all bedazzled, customized, and jazzed up by humans. There were quantum-enhanced friendship bracelets, teleporter rings with mood-sensing capabilities, and something called a vibe check vest that apparently allowed the wearer to, as one review put it, literally pass through bad vibes. "You can't do this," Styx shrieked, his translator barely handling the pitch. "These technologies are strictly regulated. There are forms, procedures, a mandatory 50-year testing period." Jessica was already recording what she called a tech mod tutorial on her quantum-enhanced phone. "Okay, Space Fam, today we're going to learn how to turn those boring Council data crystals into awesome mood lights. Don't forget to like and subscribe." No. Styx frantically checked his tablets. "That's 47 violations of Section 23 alone. And are those emojis in your quantum fuel equations? They make the math more fun." Jessica grinned. "Did you know if you use the sparkle emoji in a teleporter sequence, it adds glitter effects to the transport beam? The Glorban teenagers from Alpha Centauri are obsessed." Styx watched in horror as Jessica's latest video went viral across the galactic net. Thousands of beings, many from species that had followed Council regulations for millennia, were now adding stickers to their warp drives and painting their antimatter containment units in pastel colors. But the regulations clearly state. "Oh, about that," Jessica interrupted, pulling up a holographic document. "I read through all 47 million pages of Council tech regulations. There's nothing that specifically says you can't make technology cute. I double-checked with my debate team. We're going to cite it in next week's competition against the Proxima Centauri High School." A notification pinged on Styx's tablet. The galactic market was experiencing unprecedented activity. Apparently, Jessica's Space Etsy had just become the galaxy's largest technology exchange platform. Even the Voltsoid Collective, known for their strict adherence to tradition, were bulk ordering what they called aesthetically optimized quantum retrofits. "This is chaos," Styx moaned. "Pure chaos." "Actually," Jessica corrected, checking her sales analytics, "it's disrupting an outdated market system while promoting cross-species cultural exchange through accessible technology. I'm writing a paper about it for my economics class. Want to proofread it?" I used lots of cute graphs. Before Styx could respond, another trend alert flashed across the galactic net. The DI Alien Tech Challenge was now the most popular social media movement in recorded history. Beings across the galaxy were competing to create the most creative and bedazzled modifications to Council-approved technology. "Oh wow," Jessica exclaimed, scrolling through her feed. "Someone just figured out how to make a black hole generator that also works as a bubble tea maker. That's so awesome. Though they might want to adjust the temporal stabilizers. The boba pearls are arriving before they're ordered." Styx slumped against the wall, his regulatory tablets clattering to the floor. Somewhere in the distance, he could hear the sound of countless council regulations being reinterpreted through what humans called the power of vibes. The galaxy would never be the same, and it would probably be covered in glitter. Mike Davidson stood in the council chamber, his oil-stained work boots leaving marks on the pristine floor, and adjusted his worn Houston Astros cap. Before him, the gathered council members were turning various shades of apoplectic over the holographic images floating between them. "Now I know what y'all are thinking," Mike drawled, gesturing at the massive underground Mars complex displayed in the hologram. "But if you'll check Section 47.3b of the Mars Protection Act, you'll notice it specifically prohibits surface colonization. Ain't nothing in there about going underground." High Counselor Zixtal's energy form pulsed dangerous shades of red. "You've built an entire civilization under Mars' surface. More of a modest mining operation with some auxiliary living quarters," Mike corrected, pulling up his own holographic permits. "See here. Filed all the proper paperwork for a geological survey and resource assessment consultation. Even paid the filing fees in advance. These auxiliary living quarters have shopping malls," Supreme Technologist Molak screeched, their cybernetic eyes whirring furiously. "And is that a water park? Well, can't expect the geological survey teams to work without proper recreation facilities." Mike shrugged. "Bad for morale. Speaking of which, y'all should come by for our Friday night rodeos. We've figured out how to do barrel racing in 1/3 gravity. It's something else." The council chamber erupted in chaos as more images filtered through. Vast underground gardens growing earth crops in Martian soil, fusion reactors powering entire districts, and what appeared to be a fully operational sports stadium. "How are you powering all this?" Molak demanded. "These energy readings are impossible with current human technology." Mike scratched his chin thoughtfully. "Oh, that. Just some modified oil rig technology. You'd be amazed how much those deep earth drilling principles apply to fusion containment. Though I gotta admit, using old rig parts for the reactor housing wasn't exactly in the manual." You built fusion reactors out of oil rig parts?" Molak's voice had risen to a pitch that threatened to shatter nearby crystals. "Had to get creative with what we had on hand," Mike explained. "Shipping costs to Mars are no joke. Though the reactor efficiency went up 300% after Jessica, you know, that gal with the Space Etsy store, helped us bedazzle the containment fields. Turns out those little rhinestones she uses create some interesting quantum resonance patterns." A junior council aide burst in, their tentacles wrapped around several data tablets. "Honorable Council, we've just received 50,000 more geological survey consultant applications from Earth, and they're all technically in compliance with current regulations." Mike beamed. "Yeah, turns out lots of folks are interested in Martian geology, especially since we opened that underground beach resort in Valles Marineris. The sunset views through the plasma-treated windows are spectacular." "This is an outrage," Zixtal flickered intensely. "The council cannot allow." "Now hold on there," Mike interrupted, pulling up another holographic document. Article 12 of the Galactic Commons Act clearly states that any peaceful scientific endeavor operating within technical compliance of council regulations must be allowed to continue. And I've got about 50,000 pages of documentation proving we're in compliance, technically speaking. The council members stared in horror as Mike continued. "Plus, we're doing wonders for the local economy. Did you know the Europan ice miners are crazy about our Texas-style barbecue? They've set up a regular trade route, though we had to modify the sauce recipe on account of their methane-based biology." Before anyone could respond, another aide rushed in. "Sir, the humans have just announced plans for an underground interplanetary cultural exchange festival next month. They're calling it Mars de Grace." Mike's face lit up. "Oh yeah. Y'all should definitely come. We've figured out how to make hurricanes that flow in any gravity level, and the parade floats in Logie or something else. Just Make sure to file your geological observation permit application soon. We're expecting quite a crowd." As the council descended into bureaucratic chaos, Mike checked his watch. "Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got to get back. It's line dancing night at the Olympus Mons Honky Tonk, and I promised to teach some Jovian methane farmers the Cotton-Eye Joe." Kyle Anderson slouched in his gaming chair, Mountain Dew in one hand and a quantum controller in the other, facing the entire Galactic Economic Council through his totally rad holographic display. "So let me get this straight." Supreme Economic Minister Vrelix chittered, all 6 of their arms clutching various financial reports. "You've accidentally turned your video game into the galaxy's primary economic system." "Pretty much," Kyle shrugged, taking a sip of his drink. "Though I wouldn't say accidentally. More like a super poggers market optimization, you know." "We do not know what poggers means," Vrelix shrieked. "What we do know is that 75% of all galactic transactions are now being conducted through something called Galacticraft Premium Battle Pass Season 3. Kyle brightened. "Oh yeah, Season 3 is lit. We added these sweet cosmic llama mounts that drop from epic tier space dungeon raids. The Arcturus Trading Consortium literally offered us their entire antimatter reserves for a legendary rainbow llama with custom particle effects. The Economic Council's holographic displays were filled with charts showing the unprecedented integration of gaming and commerce. Entire star systems were now basing their GDP on drop rates and crafting materials. Yesterday, another council member noted, checking their data crystals, the Andromedan Stock Exchange crashed for 3 hours because someone leaked that unicorn-themed starship skins were being discontinued. That's on them for not reading the patch notes," Kyle replied, now scrolling through his game's inventory system. "But check this out. We just added a new feature where you can convert traditional currency into quantum coins. They exist in a probability state until you spend them, so technically everyone is simultaneously rich and poor until they make a purchase." "That's not how economics works," Vrelix exploded. "Tell that to the Pleiades Banking Consortium," Kyle grinned. "They've already integrated our quantum wallet system into their entire financial network. The transaction fees are way lower when you don't have to worry about whether the money exists until someone looks at it." A junior economic analyst burst into the council chamber, their crystalline form vibrating with panic. "Ministers, the humans have just announced something called a limited-time summer sale event. And by the Ancient Ones, the entire Orion arm is trying to buy something called discount loot boxes." Kyle nodded sagely. "FOMO is real, my dudes, but wait until they see our Black Friday deals." "Black Friday?" several council members asked nervously. "Oh man, you're gonna love this." Kyle spun in his chair excitedly. "Once a year, we slash prices so low it creates a shopping frenzy. We're planning to offer legendary tier items at rare tier prices. The pre-sale registrations have already crashed 3 quantum servers." The council watched in horror as their holographic displays showed entire civilizations reorganizing their economies around farming rare materials and grinding for experience points. The Vega system had apparently declared raid nights a religious observance. "This is unprecedented," Vrelix moaned. "The stability of the galaxy depends on carefully regulated economic systems, not epic gamer moments," Kyle suggested helpfully. "Speaking of which, have you guys tried our new NFTs? Non-fungible temporalities. They're like regular NFTs, but they exist in multiple timelines simultaneously. The crypto bros are losing their minds." Before the council could respond, another alert flashed across their screens. The Sagittarius arm was experiencing massive market fluctuations due to rumors about a possible collaboration between Galacticraft and something called Space Fortnite. "Oh yeah, that's gonna be sick," Kyle confirmed, pulling up some preview footage. "We're planning to let players build bases anywhere in actual space using our new quantum construction system. Already got some sick deals lined up with real estate developers in the Horsehead Nebula. Vrillix's multiple appendages were now clutching their head. You can't just gamify the entire galactic economy. Watch me, Kyle winked, hitting the button on his controller. Throughout the galaxy, millions of devices chimed with the same notification. New season has available now. Unlock the ultra-rare quantum penguin pet. As the Economic Council dissolved into chaos, Kyle took another sip of his Mountain Dew. By the way, he added casually, has anyone told you about our new subscription service? Colonel Sarah Walker was having a perfectly normal day aboard the International Space Station Beta when the distress call came in. Well, as normal as any day could be when you're teaching a squad of Andromeda Marines how to do zero-gravity parkour. Mom, Lieutenant Chen's voice crackled over the comm. Pirate vessels attacking its Ilaxian passenger transport near Jupiter's orbit. Council forces are 6 hours out. Sarah checked her watch, an ancient Casio G-Shock that had survived 3 wars and countless spacewalks. How many civilians? 200, mostly students returning from a quantum physics field trip. Sarah grabbed her toolkit, a beaten-up red toolbox with a USMC sticker and a Hello Kitty decal Vernice had added. Tell the pirates we're coming to assist. You mean we're going to warn them to stand down? Chen asked. Nope. Sarah grinned, pulling out her favorite wrench. We're going to help them understand Newton's laws of motion. Personally, the pirates, notorious members of the Crimson Nebula gang, had just finished their standard threatening broadcast when they noticed something odd. A small maintenance vessel was approaching, blasting what their sensors identified as Cotton Eye Joe at full volume. Is this some kind of joke? The pirate captain growled. One maintenance ship against our fleet. Their answer came in the form of Colonel Walker, using their own artificial gravity generators to launch herself between ships like a human pinball. She bounced off hulls, used her wrench as an improvised grappling hook, and somehow managed to disable 3 ships' weapon systems while humming the tune to Sweet Home Alabama. Did she just disable our main cannon by hitting it with a wrench? One pirate asked incredulously. Technically, Sarah's voice crackled over their comms. I used the angular momentum from your own defense screen, combined with the gravitational pull of that nearby moon. Also, y'all might want to check your port thrusters. They're making a funny noise. The pirates watched in disbelief as this single human female proceeded to turn their carefully planned heist into what she called a good old-fashioned workshop throwdown. She used maintenance tools in ways that violated several laws of physics, treated zero-gravity combat like a gymnastics routine, and somehow managed to give a running commentary on proper spacecraft maintenance while doing it. See, your problem here, she lectured while sliding under plasma fire, is you're not properly maintaining your coolant systems. That's why your weapons keep jamming. Also, your artificial gravity is off by 0.3%. Makes your targeting all wonky. The Council's military observation post was in chaos. This isn't possible. Supreme Commander Vexthor bellowed. Our combat simulations show that defeating a pirate fleet requires at least 3 heavy cruisers and... Oh, bless your heart, Sarah interrupted, now apparently using a pirate ship's own security drone as a makeshift skateboard. Y'all rely too much on fancy weapons. Sometimes you just need a good wrench and a basic understanding of momentum. The footage of her one-woman wrecking crew operation was already going viral across the galaxy. Binge watched in awe as she disabled complex weapon systems with simple tools, turned pirates' own security measures against them, and did it all while critiquing their spacecraft maintenance practices. And that's why. She explained to a thoroughly defeated pirate crew now sitting cross-legged before her like chastised schoolchildren, you always check your quantum field harmonics before a raid. These fluctuations are just embarrassing. When the Council forces finally arrived 6 hours later, they found the pirate fleet neatly disabled, the civilian ship safe, and Colonel Walker teaching the reformed pirates how to properly calibrate their engine cores. They're not bad folks, she reported to the stunned council commanders. "Just needed some direction and basic engineering training. We're gonna meet up next week for a workshop on proper tool maintenance." As the council forces processed the scene, Sarah's voice crackled over the comm one last time. "Oh, and someone might want to check on that quantum coffee shop that just opened on Ganymede. Their espresso machine's putting out some weird readings, and we all remember what happened last time someone messed up the coffee makers." The council's military doctrine was hastily updated that day to include a new warning. In case of human engineers, expect the impossible. James Sullivan strode into the council's grand chamber wearing what he called his lucky negotiating suit, a slightly wrinkled Brooks Brothers number accessorized with a tie featuring tiny dancing aliens, a gag gift from his daughter that had accidentally become a galactic fashion trend. "Folks," he announced, slapping a thick stack of papers on the ancient pedestal, "we need to talk about your voting system." High Counselor Zixtel's energy form dimmed suspiciously. "Our voting system has maintained peace for 50,000 years. "Yeah, about that." James pulled out his iPad Pro, now quantum enhanced thanks to Jessica's latest mod. "Did you know that according to Article 7, subsection 12 of your charter, any species can propose amendments to council procedures if they can prove the changes increase efficiency? But our system is already perfect," protested Supreme Arbiter Venixis, their gelatinous form quivering with indignation. James pulled up a PowerPoint presentation titled "Making Democracy Lit: A Human's Guide to Galactic Governance." "Perfect." He clicked to the first slide. "Your last vote on emergency response protocols took 3 years. The emergency was over before you finished voting about how to handle it." That's tradition," Venixis bubbled defensively. "Well, tradition's about to meet reality TV," James grinned, launching what he called his pilot episode. The chamber's holoscreens lit up with a flashy introduction sequence. Space DOT talent, government EDITION, blazed across every display, complete with explosive graphics and what sounded suspiciously like the theme from America's Got Talent. "The concept is simple," James explained as the council watched in horror. "Each world presents their proposals in an engaging format. The galaxy votes in real time. Top proposals go to the finals. Winners get fast-tracked implementation. We've already got sponsorship deals from 17 quantum beverage companies." "This is undignified." Zixtal flickered frantically. "You can't turn governmental procedures into amazing television," James suggested helpfully. "Check out our pilot numbers." The statistics were undeniable. The test broadcast of a minor trade dispute resolution had drawn more viewers than any event in galactic history. The highlight, a passionate speech about tariff reform delivered by a Betelgeusian ambassador while juggling plasmaspheres. But what about proper procedure?" Someone wailed. "Oh, we're following all your procedures," James assured them, flipping through his documentation. "Article 9 says voting must be accessible to all. Article 15 requires transparent deliberation. Nothing in there says it can't also be entertaining." The chamber erupted as footage played of various species competing to present the most compelling arguments for their proposals. A Proximan delegate had somehow turned a waste management initiative into a viral dance challenge. The Arcturus block had hired a human marketing team and was now promoting their security protocols through what they called sick beats and fresh memes. "The next segment," James announced proudly, "is called So You Think You Can Legislate. We've got a panel of judges including that Texas engineer who built the Mars colonies and the teenager who revolutionized galactic commerce. Guest judge next week is Colonel Walker. She's going to grade proposals on their engineering efficiency." Before the council could respond, breaking news flashed across all screens. The show's first viral sensation, a Syrian environmental protection officer's impassioned speech about cosmic wildlife preservation, delivered while riding one of Kyle's quantum llamas, had just broken all known broadcasting records. "This is chaos," Zixtal protested. "Pure chaos." "Actually," James corrected, pulling up more charts. Engagement in political processes is up 8,000%. Public understanding of complex policies has increased by 6,000%. Also, merchandising revenue could fund the next century of galactic infrastructure projects. He paused to check his phone. Oh, and the Andromeda Galaxy just offered us a prime-time slot. They love the segment where failed proposals get dumped into quantum gelatin. As the council chamber descended into chaos, James straightened his dancing alien tie. Look at it this way. For the first time in 50,000 years, people are actually reading the legislation. They're just doing it while voting on their favorite dance battles. The final blow came when a junior aide rushed in. Sir, the humans have just announced a spin-off show. The Real Bureaucrats of the Milky Way. James grinned. Wait until they see what we've got planned for Sweets Week. Democracy would never be the same, but at least now it had better ratings. Bill Harrison, former high school football coach turned galactic diplomat, stood before the assembled council wearing his lucky varsity jacket adorned with diplomatic medals. The inauguration ceremony for the first human council president was being broadcast across 17 galaxies, with ratings that made the Super Bowl look like a local access show. Folks, he began, taking a casual bite from his cheeseburger, now a formal diplomatic gesture thanks to Lieutenant Reynolds' first contact protocols. We need to talk about team spirit. The assembled dignitaries watched in mixed horror and fascination as he pulled out an old playbook, now modified with quantum enhancements courtesy of Jessica's latest innovations. See, running a galaxy ain't so different from coaching football. You need good fundamentals, solid teamwork, and... He paused to wipe some special sauce from his chin with a formally ratified council napkin. Everybody needs to know they're playing for something bigger than themselves. But the ancient protocols, someone started, are getting an update. Bill grinned, tossing his burger wrapper into a quantum recycling bin that turned it into a small galaxy of stars. First order of business. Mandatory team building exercises. The chamber erupted in chaos as he unveiled his first initiative, the Galactic Super Bowl, a zero-gravity football tournament played with antimatter balls across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Now I know what you're thinking, Bill continued, pulling up holographic stadium designs. Traditional football rules don't account for quantum physics. That's why we're adding some special teams. Quantum field goals count triple if you kick them through parallel universes. Fricks, watching from his new position as special advisor for human integration, couldn't help but click in amusement as Bill outlined his vision for what he called good old-fashioned American innovation meets alien bureaucracy. And that's just the beginning. Bill enthused, his jacket now glowing with quantum-enhanced school spirit. We're implementing Friday night lights across the galaxy. Literal lights, mind you, powered by zero-point energy. Makes the whole Milky Way sparkle like a disco ball every Friday. The economic reports were undeniable. Kyle's gaming economy had seamlessly merged with Mike's Mars development projects and Jessica's tech modifications. Colonel Walker's engineering workshops were now the galaxy's most popular reality show, and James's governmental entertainment complex had somehow made bureaucracy cool. But the real game changer, Bill announced, pulling out what looked like an old-school coach's whistle, is our new emergency response system. He blew the whistle, a sound that somehow resonated through quantum subspace, causing every being in the galaxy to instinctively sit up straighter. 5-minute quantum timeout, he explained, gives us a chance to huddle up and solve crises before they start. And yes, we're serving orange slices during the breaks. Quantum enhanced, of course. They taste like victory in every timeline simultaneously. The various council species watched in amazement as their formerly rigid bureaucracy transformed into something that looked suspiciously like a well-oiled sports team. Diplomatic Corps now had cheerleaders. Trade agreements were celebrated with end-zone dances, and the entire Orion arm had adopted clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose as their official motto. Remember, folks, Bill boomed, his voice carrying the same enthusiasm he once used to inspire underdog teams to state championships. In this galaxy, everybody plays, everybody matters, and everybody gets a shot at the end zone. Cathrix, finishing his report on humanity's integration into galactic society, added one final note. Perhaps we didn't need to fear humans after all. We just needed to learn to play their game. As the ceremony concluded, Bill pulled out one last surprise, a quantum football signed by every species in the known universe. Game ball, he announced, tossing it into a quantum state where every being in the galaxy could somehow catch it simultaneously. Because in this new galaxy of ours, everybody's a winner. The crowd erupted in cheers as antimatter fireworks lit up the spaceways. Jessica's bedazzled quantum tech turned every star into a disco ball, and Kyle's gaming servers processed the largest microtransaction event in history, commemorative digital jerseys for every being in the galaxy. Somewhere in the distance, Colonel Walker could be heard teaching a group of ancient energy beings how to properly tackle in zero-G, while James Sullivan's cameras captured it all for the season finale of Space God Game. The galaxy would never be the same, but maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what it needed.